Hey guys! So today I'm using the new Sigma Enlight collection and I'm very excited, not just because of the collection, but also because it turned out so much better than I expected it to, which is always a nice feeling because I filmed so many videos and then it just looks crap, but this one actually turned out pretty good, so I hope you like it. I've already applied primer, concealer and foundation, which I will be doing a tutorial for after all the holiday videos have passed. So I'm going to start by contouring. I'm using Mellow to go underneath the cheekbones and around my forehead, the sides of my nose and underneath my bottom lip. Just contour where you usually contour. Next, I'm using Serene, which is one of my new go-to blushes. It is absolutely gorgeous. I've applied it quite heavily, but just bear with it, you'll see why in a second. Next, I'm using Peaceful as a highlight, and I'm going across my cheekbones, down the centre of the nose, across my cupid's bow and my chin. Next, I'm using a translucent powder to just go over everything and kind of lock everything in place. And this way it just looks like all the contouring, the highlighting and the blush is all just part of the skin and it's not just plopped on top of everything. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But just look at it compared to the other side. That's also why I applied it quite heavily because it just tones everything down a bit. Next, I'm filling in my eyebrows and I'm into natural looking messy brows at the moment, so I'm just kind of making mine a little bit darker but not paying too much attention to them, and I always have a centre part so no one sees them anyway. It's wonderful. Moving on to the eyeballs, I'm first using a base in the shade Compost and I'm applying the smallest amount of this as not only a base but a guideline. I'm taking it across through the socket and also winging it out at the edge because I wanted this entire look to have a really nice V-line shape to it. Next, I'm using the colour Russet, and will you just look at that colour? I am literally in love with it, you have no idea. I'm applying with a domed brush, which also comes in this collection, but a pencil brush would also do the job. And I'm just applying it over the base. Then I'm just using this little guy to just blend that colour out. Next, I'm using a fluffy brush and this colour Cinnamon, which kind of reminds me of a matte version of Topaz, which is my favourite eyeshadow in the whole world. And I'm just applying a small amount of that over the edges and it immediately just creates a nice warm glow. Then I'm taking Sugar Milk over the edges of that just to get that seamless blend. It can also serve as a highlight if you bring it all the way up to the brow as well. Next, I'm using another colour which I can't handle how wonderful it is. Honestly, I hate to say it, but I think I'm a bit more excited about this palette than the Naked 3 because it's like I designed it. It's like my brain in a palette. I love it. I'm using a short shader brush just to apply this colour again through the socket, but also into that wing and across onto the lid a little bit more. I'm going to blend it more in a second, but first I'm going to apply the glitter. If you want to skip the glitter, you could just use a gold eyeshadow instead, or maybe even just the base like this, because I really like it just like that as well, to be honest. To apply the glitter, I'm just putting a bit of glitter glue onto the back of my hand, taking some of it with the brush, and then dipping that little guy in the glitter. Tap off the excess and then press onto the lid. I'm applying most of the colour on the inner third of the eye, and then I'm just using what's left on the brush to kind of fade it across the rest of the lid. Next, use Warm Stone again to just go around the edges of the glitter, just to make that transition a bit smoother. It works really well with the glitter because Warm Stone also has gold glitter in it. Then just blend out the edges. And you might want to add that warm colour back through the edges again too. Next, I added a bit of fawn in the inner corner, but it doesn't matter because I do it again later, so let's just ignore that for now and move on to eyeliner. Then, if you've used gel, set it in place with black eyeshadow. If the edges aren't as sharp as you'd like them to be, you can always just clean them up with concealer. Underneath the eye, I'm first applying cinnamon, then russet, then a dash of warm stone in the centre. On the waterline, I'm using 3 liners because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to use. So I used nutmeg in the inner corner, Eclipse on the outer corner, and then connected the two with Vintage. Next, I applied Fawn in the inner corner. I also decided to tightline with the black liner. I didn't do this on the other eye, so I'm also doing it on that eye as well. And then I'm applying mascara to the top and bottom lashes before adding falsies. And I'm using these gorgeous Ardell corner lashes. I'm not a lip gloss girl by any means, I hate this stuff, but I just wanted to use as many products from this collection as I could, since this video is to go alongside the review on my blog. So I used Tranquil, but we all know in real life I'd be rocking a red lip with this. But then that's it. I know it's very over the top, but why not? I hope you like it, and thank you for watching.